Hi everyone. Hey, yes, really happy to be here in Minnesota on this wet, rainy day. But you know what? You are here too, so give yourselves a clap. Yeah. Thank you for all the entertainment and the spoken words from everyone earlier. Okay, yeah. I'm probably the tallest Cambodian Lao person you ever seen, right? So, yeah, just the really again this mall is amazing in terms of just like look at all these artifacts. I'm like, we don't have any of this stuff from California. I mean, like you have to travel across town from one town to another, one side, right? And it's like next thing you know, it's like 30, 45 minutes of driving. But here you have all this stuff here. It's like I don't know if it's too much or just like amazing. But yeah, just a little bit about my background. Let's see, I am an artist. I am a refugee child. So my parents came from Cambodia. And I came to this country in Iowa in 1980. So 1980, March 1980. Really we were the only Asian family there. And then, you know what? The amazing thing was once we found out there were other community of Southeast Asians around, especially the Hmong community, the Thai Dam community that was able to, to really connect my parents because we were just like little kid, right? And in all the resources in the community. And so it is so important to continue to tell our stories, whether, you know, many of you here are like actors and cultural bearers, as well as a spoken word artist and performers. And my thing is the arts. And I was thinking back a few years ago that I was going to give up making artwork only because I just felt like there wasn't space or, I don't know, I think I just felt like not producing anymore, you know, as a creative person. And then, so I'm also a community activist, so I work in a nonprofit in Long Beach at United Cambodian Community. Thank you, Jamie. I know, all the nonprofit people, you know what that's like, right? Yay, right? Yes, exactly. Especially with all the amazing funding that's coming from the federal government. Yes, yes. And then, but you know, I realized that there are so many avenues for artists and creatives to make things. Like, you know, fine arts for me was something that I thought that was the only avenue. And then when I realized that my community needed me to support them through like putting murals, public art murals out there in the community to talk about their story, you know, the image of what the culture is. And then I also realized that I was part of the Cambodian model curriculum that's happening, so around ethnic study in California that's happening. And it's like, and then I started to do lectures around, you know, sharing stories like this, putting images together. And then my partner told me that, you know, why don't you just put your own book together? And I really did. I had all of these drawings. So the part of it is, you know, I'm here to launch my interactive coloring book, which is on the table over there. But I really just put that book together like overnight, only because I had all of these drawings that I had done myself. And I thought, why don't I just put that together? Because I was looking at another person's book that was created in 1992 from a business organization. But then when I looked at it closely, it said, you know, copyrighted, you know, do not use or you know, with a written permission. So then I thought, you know, I'm not going to use this book. And I thought, I'm going to put my own book together. And that's how it started with this, only because then I was traveling to Lowell, Massachusetts recently. And then I was almost done with the book, and then I realized that this Cambodian community out there, they were doing music instruments, and then they had already put it online. And I thought, you know, that was the part that was missing. So this book is interactive with coloring. And then I thought, can I use your information to put that in there? Connecting the QR code, which they already have, and then the sound of the music. And then I thought, you know what? It needed to connect to the Absolute Dancer, the temple in Cambodia, and these are all through like a public domain anyway, you know, through National Geographic, UNICEF. And so I had connected those together, and I just thought, you know, this is pretty complete in terms of people that have lost their background and want to give connection to that. By the way, in connection back to the Hmong community, when we came out here to Iowa in 1980, we lived there. Of course, my parents really hated it because it was just freezing, right? my poor mom, most of my mom, she was just depressed, I think, you know, because of just didn't know how to live in the cold. We lived there for 2 years, and then when we went to Torrance, California, and yeah, so the other thing too is, so they're telling me like I can show some creative things. But just to finish up that story with when we went from Iowa to Torrance, California, you know, there was a huge Hmong community living in the apartment, and they were showing us how to get around because, of course, as you know, Hmong people, they can speak Lao, right? So we are Cambodian Lao. My grandparents probably came from Laos to live in Cambodia. But, and then, you know, when I was growing up, anyway, it's a long story, but when I was growing up and then when the war happened, my parent had said, okay, we're not going to teach you Cambodian Khmer anymore because of, you know, what happened. And so we ended up growing up and we didn't speak Cambodian, we only spoke Lao. And so that was it was a loss for the kids, right? And it was just a lot of unlearning of the bias that they had taught us around that. But anyway, part of the reason with the book is, what we're gonna do is, if y'all wanna come by over at the coloring table, you can look at some of the book, and then we can look at some of the stories, and how to maybe even color some things if you like. Okay? So we'll be at the very back. Thank you. Thank you all.